Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Let's go. Thoughts can keep you down, pushing deep until you drown, or they can keep you up strong, focused on the now. Glass half full, or has it been emptied out? Well, that's all up to you and your mind. Do you doubt anything, everything, not a thing? Make my thoughts work for me, manifest what I need, what I want, what I see. I could be anything, I attract all the things that I see. I believe I'll achieve as I breathe in and out again and again. I don't doubt, I sit in, I plan, and I found out that I can execute if I'm driven, if I listen, if I learn all the wisdom. Read some books, something written, watch the best. Teach a system, I invest, never hidden, I ain't scared. Ain't no chicken, I take dares. I'll be winning, you get back what you're giving. Find the reason that you're living, what you're good at, all your gifts and what you love. Take a risk and find out what you've been missing. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose. Your will lies deep way under the surface, and like a fire needs coal in the furnace. This is your goal that makes it all worth it. This is your why that gives you your purpose.
All right, welcome to the Party Pals, GRC Mafia. Right out of the gate, we're here to break down barriers, foster collaboration and community, working towards a more secure future for everybody. Definitely a learning and growing environment. If you guys would like to come up here on stage, you're more than welcome to do so. I'm going to go ahead and treat this a lot like we do our Friday AMAs, where if you guys have questions, you guys want to join the stage and so forth, definitely feel free to do so. If you do come up, you do not have to turn on your video. If you just want to turn on your microphone, that's fine. Or you can go ahead and hang out and chat and ask questions and join the conversations and so forth. One of the best places to drop the links, because YouTube doesn't allow you to drop it in chat, is to join our Discord server, and then we have a live chat channel. You can post your social media profiles if you want to connect with the rest of the community, but then also if you have any resources you want to add to the conversations or otherwise, that's going to be the best place to do that. Now, don't share anything that you don't want to be public. If you happen to do so, reach out to me on Discord, LinkedIn, or contact@studygrc.org, and we'll figure out what we can do about that portion. This is definitely going to be more of an AMA style and so forth, but absolute worst case scenario, I was actually going to look at maybe doing the AI interviewing like I had done before. I did that during one of our Thursday primary sessions, but we haven't actually had an independent one that I published separately. So worst case scenario, I can go through maybe on that, provide a complete walkthrough, and then I can always cut that out and publish it separately for shorter form. But yeah, welcome to the Party Pals. Let me go ahead and swap this over. And then also, we typically do a few different shout outs here. Definitely check out B-Dubs. So B-Dubs has a blog, and then also did the CISSP study group. And she publishes a cybersecurity GRC related article every single Monday for absolute $0. No paywalls or anything like that. And then we also have PBO as well. And PBO is actually going live tonight. Let me go ahead and swap over to that side here. Oh, that's weird. It's displaying odd on my end. But so you can see this one here. And so PBO usually goes live at 9 p.m. Eastern time, talking a lot of stuff around like the more government federal space. That's most of his background. Tonight, he's talking about small business assessment regarding the 853. He definitely is, 853 SME, subject matter expert is what he calls himself. But he has tons and tons of content as well. So not only does he go live every single Tuesday night, but then also he has, how many videos on his, probably quite a few different videos on his channel. Yeah, so 825 videos. So bam. All right. And then let me go ahead and swap this back over. But yeah, how's everybody's week going so far? We're just trying to put out some more content and give everybody the ability to join the conversations and so forth, and also provide your guys' feedback on what you guys want to hear and see more of. Like I said, worst case scenario, I'll go ahead and transition. I'm going to actually go through and try to find some type of job description or otherwise to use as an example for this. Let me see. Welcome to the party, pal Josh and KP. Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, we're definitely trying to go through and just, provide more opportunity with it and do more of the live stream sections. More as that community aspect portion. And then that defaults down there. Go figure. I'm going to pick out one of these articles, though. I was thinking about going through, during one of the Thursday sessions, I went through and I showcased how you could use Gemini conversational speech for job readiness. Like if there's a particular interview you have lined up, you could take the job description, you can get the company information and so forth, and then you can have a conversation as a mock interview with the AI. And I was thinking, I can always cut that out and publish it separately for the community value add for that as well. Let me see. I'm going to try to pick out a job description here. If you guys have a particular role that you guys have applied to or that you came across and I could always run with that. But I hope you guys are having a great week so far. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the music in the background here as well. I just have to make sure I put it on loop. Yeah, and let me know if that's too loud. And then I'm going to go ahead and showcase this here. Here's one for Airtable. So this is what I got up on my screen here. And so I'm just looking at LinkedIn and so forth. Oh, that's pretty... This isn't really an entry level at all. Oh, it literally says unicorns? LinkedIn has a unicorn section now? What? Bam. There you go, Josh. Just initial involvement stuff. See what works for you. I always feel like after the holidays and so forth, it's different. Yeah, that's what I'm noticing, Rothnir. I haven't been like on the job hunt lately, but yeah, I just was trying to find a job description here to run through AI for the interviewing mock that I showed before. And yeah, apparently LinkedIn has a unicorn section now. I hadn't noticed it before, but I mean, at least they're not hiding it now. And then like, look at these positions that are marked underneath the unicorn section. So legal data, intelligence, education, senior specialist, privacy specialist, technical staff, back-end engineer. Let's look at the back-end engineer. I don't feel like that would need to be a unicorn per se. Let's see. KP says that theirs doesn't have any unicorn. All I did was just go over to the job search section. So what, up here at the top, I just clicked on job search. Yeah, I clicked on jobs here at the top of LinkedIn, and then it's right here, unicorns. Explore with collections. So apparently these are collections that they've developed. That's crazy. Let me see, like entry level, compliance. I'll just do entry level compliance. and we'll see if we can find something, or if you guys have something, you could drop that in chat too. Welcome to the party, pal Sunshine. So typically our normal sessions is Thursdays at 6 p.m. Central, and then Fridays at 11 a.m. Central. We're just adding in a couple different, streams as well. What I'm looking for right now, I mean, first of all, we were all kind of dumbfounded, or at least I was, and KP, on the fact that apparently LinkedIn has these collections here, including one that says unicorns. But yeah, so that's interesting. But I showcased before how you could take a job description, throw that into AI, use conversational speech in order to have a mock interview with the company information as well. And I was just going to try to select something out to showcase that portion. Does anybody else have the unicorn collection under theirs? You cannot post the links in the YouTube chat. You would have to join the Discord server and put the links in the live chat channel. So that's the workaround, because YouTube doesn't allow links in YouTube. But it will relay it to YouTube if you put it in live chat. Oh yeah, and thanks Rothnir for putting that in chat as well. You're extra special like the unicorn. Jess asks, do you feel like a lot of the LinkedIn jobs are legitimate? A lot of people say they get ghosted by employers. Honestly, I kind of try to stay away from the conversation on that, because like I haven't really been in the job hunting aspect. I have heard of a lot of people having issues, particularly on LinkedIn. So like what I have always recommended, and I've heard, I've stole it from other people who said the same thing, is not even applying through LinkedIn. Just go straight to the company website, find their career page, and do it that way. So like we do, so the last Thursday of every single month, we have a job readiness group resume review session as well. Every single month, and like we've had different job descriptions come up from LinkedIn in particular, and they're not even available on the actual career page for that company. So yeah, I personally wouldn't be applying through LinkedIn myself. I'd be going straight to the source. Okay, Josh has one. Let's see, let me go ahead and pull that up. Oh gosh, Josh, you're gonna really try to make it hard for me, aren't you? All right, so this is the one that Josh just sent over. So Datadog, Senior Security Governance Analyst. All right, so let me see how I can line this up here. All right, so basically I'm going to swap over to this other screen here in just a second, and then I'll show you the process that, and you could do this with any AI. So I'm using Grok, and then I'll go through Grok on this one, but we could do the same thing with Gemini. The reason I'm going to use Grok, you can use the exact same process with any of the AIs, whether it's ChatGPT or Gemini or otherwise. The main reason I'm going to use Grok is because I can use the conversational speech in the browser, and I don't have to use my phone. So that should be easier for everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and pull this down for a second, and then we'll go ahead and get it going. Let's see here. All right. And I do have the audio on, so once we start the actual audio and everything else, then just let me know that you guys can actually hear that. Let me double check chat here. Rosnier mentions ghost jobs are a huge problem. I would go directly to the company's site to apply. Yeah, exactly. That's the same thing that I've heard a lot of other people say too. So yeah, it could definitely be pretty sketchy. I think one of the biggest issues on LinkedIn is the fact that anybody can go off and make a company page, first of all. Like, I'm sure you guys also get messages and so forth on LinkedIn that are just super sketchy. I don't feel like they moderate the platform very well at all. Oh, no worries, no worries. It's not a problem, Josh. I'm going to end up going into a mock interview on a live stream for Senior Security Governance Analyst. So I have no problem butchering it. That's fine. The whole point is just showcasing the process itself. Welcome to the party, pal, PBO. All right, so I did mention earlier on the fact that PBO is going live tonight. So definitely check that out. So 9 p.m. Eastern tonight. Bam. Oh, and then also Space Tacos hopping in chat. GRC Mafia. All right, so the very first thing I'm going to do, and like I said, you guys can do this with any and all of the different AI that's out there. ChatGPT or Gemini are those are the other two that I know have conversational features, and that's the key thing with this is being able to actually talk to it directly. But the number one thing that I go through and do is I come over here to the actual job description, and this is the one that Josh shared. And so it has the job description here. I'm going to go ahead and actually copy and paste this out. And they also have a section here about Datadog, which is the company that is posting this apparently. So I'm going to go ahead and take down to that section there. So that way we have the information about this. And Senior Security Governance Analyst. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this in here. So literally just the whole job description. At the very top, I'm going to put the title. And I won't swap back over, but I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing here. So we have the title there as well. And then I'm also going to go ahead and use Markdown with the hashtag to showcase a title, because a lot of the different AI models do recognize the formatting for Markdown. And then I'm just going to put, job description. All right. And then I'll end up typing in a prompt here in a second for that. The other part that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to open up another tab here, and I'm going to try to find Datadog career page and see. Another thing that I've noticed is, and this is like what I would do if I had like an interview lined up. So that way I can like get really prepared for it. Let's see. It looks like my ad block is actually blocking the career page for Datadog. Yeah, literally. Let me go ahead and allow that through. All right. Let's see here. That might take a second to update there. That's fine though. So we have the job description here. Let me just double check chat again. PBO says that he had a great interview with Datadog a few years back. That's awesome. Yeah, welcome to the party, pal. I see Cam also popping in and so forth as well. All right, so yeah, the career page is not loading for me at all for Datadog. Usually I would go to the actual career page, try to find it, because usually there's more information on that. But instead, so we copied over the job description itself, and then I'm going to go ahead and outline, and I'm going to say, I have an interview lined up for this company, Datadog, for the following position. Conduct extensive research on the company, and compile a report for me to learn about the organization itself. Particularly focus on a potential trust center, or otherwise to identify possible tools, platforms, frameworks, or frameworks that they may use additionally identify the company's mission, objectives, services, and overall governance. The purpose will be to improve my understanding, to excel in the interview. And I want to be prepared. And every single time I've gone through this, I've always worded this a little bit differently. I'm just trying to get it to go through and conduct the research prior, because you want to prompt it with that information beforehand. So that way it has it in its context. So it knows what's going on. And I'm going to go ahead and actually swap this over, and I'm going to have this do research on this. So I'm going to go ahead and throw it into research mode. It would be the same thing with ChatGPT or with Gemini. With Gemini in particular, you would actually have to do deep research and then take the report it gives you. Hopefully the audio wasn't out too long. Yeah, so what I was, I think, I don't know. I think it might be Restream that's been having issues lately on the last couple streams themselves. But yeah, here in a moment, we'll go into the actual voice mode on this second step. But yeah, basically the gist of it was just we're trying to prompt it so it has all of this information about the company and the job you're going for. And then you can do the exact same thing in the other AI models like ChatGPT and Gemini. I do use Gemini a lot. I think the main issue with Gemini is just the fact that you can't do deep research and then move to a different model. That's why I have to like go through and do deep research and then pull it up on my phone to go into the conversational speech. So, but we'll give this a moment. And also, if anybody else wanted to come up on stage, you're more than welcome to as well. Yeah, I think at least I conveyed some of the information there, but yeah, I'll probably have to go through and just record a video and edit the video out on going through this process itself. This is just such a huge leverage point using AI. Like I said, you can do this on any model. Grok just happens to be the only one I have that I can talk to on the browser. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yeah, let me go ahead and pull up the direct page for that. I did have to unblock it through my ad block. For some reason, it was being blocked. There we go. Nice. Yeah, it looks like it's exactly the same information as they had on LinkedIn there. So some of the companies, they have more information on their actual career page. All right, let's check this out and see. And now I keep looking back to make sure my microphone's working. Yeah, that's the biggest downside with Gemini is you can't switch between models. Whereas with Grok, you can. And the main reason I'm using Grok right now, like I said, is because I can do multiple models, do the deep research, use the higher end one, and then also go into conversational, all in the same chat. So, but otherwise, like what I have done in the past is do deep research, take that report, and then import that into a new chat for conversational. So that's definitely one of the downsides there. But yeah, while we wait for this section here, did you guys have any questions or what are you guys working on? Josh said that, you know, he's prepping, volunteering for stuff. Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Jess. Yeah, no, it's I think it's just Restream that is messing up lately with the audio cutting out. And then also, not only 9 p.m. tonight Eastern time is PVO going live, but at 6 p.m. Central, we'll be going through. While we wait for that, I can go ahead and pull this open. I'll go ahead and make this public now. But the live stream yesterday, we were talking about the NIST post-quantum cryptography standards. And I'll go ahead and swap over here. And so I went through and I made an entire notebook LM. I'll talk more about this tonight on how I built this. I just went through and built this out ahead of time just so that way, you know, it saves us time tonight for it. But this has all of the cryptography standards. It has the actual documentation from the researchers who developed like the 203 and so forth. And I'll showcase this more tonight. But for now, I can go ahead and, you know, publish this out for everybody if you guys want to take a look. Let's see. I'm a huge fan of Notebook LM. Yeah, and like one of the cool things is like when you look at this diagram, then it even has it all split up. And this is one of my favorite things with Notebook LM. But yeah, you guys can get a jump start on that section. One of the things that I found surprising when I was building this out actually is that I do use Proton Mail. And I thought Proton Mail had already converted over to post-quantum encryption, but they actually haven't. I didn't realize that. So they're still using it's still a good standard, a good encryption that Proton is using, but other different platforms like Tuda, they've already gone over and got post-quantum encryption enabled, whereas you know, Proton hasn't, which is honestly really surprising considering the size. I was just kind of taken back by that. Considering how massive Proton is, I really thought that they would have the post-quantum by now. But there are some different services that are setting that up. Also, one of the different articles I came across with the post-quantum is like 5% of businesses globally are prepared for post-quantum. Kind of concerning, but yeah. It looks like it's done. Cam says, sitting down to apply to a couple saved jobs today that with some Sec Plus study, part-time work, and also needing to mow the lawn. Sounds like a pretty busy day. That's, yeah, you mentioned before on the Sec Plus studying and so forth. All right, so now we have our report generated. All right, so you can go through, you can read this out and so forth. The main reason why we did this is just so that way it's in the context here. And it looks like it's still developing the report, so I'll wait for that to finish. Like I said, exactly identical to ChatGPT or Gemini in regards to the report coming out and more information about the company. So... okay, so it looks like Datadog actually does have a form of trust center that's actually on GitHub. So AWS, IAM, and Azure AD. It's a leader in cloud observability and security. So that's the benefit with this entire report, is now it has way more information about the company itself, including the certifications. So apparently Datadog has all of these different certifications and so forth that they follow, cloud security, alliance, and so forth. So way more information than we had before. Now, let me know. I'll go ahead and watch chat. I'm going to move chat over to another window here, so that way I can see chat at the same time. Because now I'll go into conversational. You should be able to hear me and the AI itself. Just let me know if it's working or not. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the music off, so that way I can hear it better. All right. Yeah, I mean, it's better to have a bunch of things to do than not know what to do. All right, so we have all of this information. Now let's go into the conversational. I'm going to go ahead and change this out. All right, so like I've already mentioned, is I have this interview lined up with Datadog, and you can see in the previous section that all of the different information regarding Datadog and the company itself. You can do some more research on that if you would like. But what I would like to do moving forward is treat this as a mock interview itself. So you'll pose a realistic question in regards to this particular job, and then I will respond to it. And then after I respond, I would like you to respond back to me with input, with feedback based on how my response was and what areas I could improve on.
Great. Let's dive into a mock interview for the Senior Security Governance Analyst role at Datadog. I'll ask you a realistic question based on the job description, and after your response, I'll provide feedback on what you did well and areas for improvement. Here's your first question. Given Datadog's focus on maintaining a robust compliance program, can you walk me through how you would approach translating a complex regulatory requirement, like a specific control from ISO 2731, into an actionable internal policy that engineering teams can easily understand and implement? All right, go ahead and share your response.
Yeah, so the first thing that I would definitely look at is the different reference material that ISO provides and the existing documentation the company has. One of the biggest things would be to actually customize it to the organization and its mission.
Thanks for your response. Let's break down what you did well and where you could improve. Feedback strengths. You started by referencing ISO 2731 source material, which shows you understand the importance of grounding your work in the standard itself. Mentioning existing company documentation is a good instinct, as it highlights the need to align with Datadog's current practices. Tying the policy to the organization's mission is also a strong point, as it shows you're thinking about making the policy relevant to Datadog's goals, like enabling digital transformation. Feedback areas for improvement. Your answer was a bit brief and lacked specific details, which could make it feel too general to the interviewer. For example, you didn't mention a specific ISO 2731 control or explain how you'd translate its technical requirements into plain language for engineers. Including a concrete example, like a control around access management, e.g., A9.4.1, and walking through your process, like reviewing the control, consulting with engineering teams, or using Datadog's Common Controls Framework, DCCF, would make your answer more impactful. Additionally, mentioning collaboration with stakeholders, e.g., security or legal teams, or tools like Policy as Code, could show deeper alignment with the role's cross-functional and technical aspects. Suggestion for refinement. Try structuring your answer with a clear process. 1. Identify the specific control. 2. Assess Datadog's environment. 3. Collaborate with teams to ensure feasibility.
Yeah, that sounds great and everything, but let's go ahead and move on to the next question that you have for me.
Awesome. Let's keep the mock interview rolling. Here's your next question. As a senior security governance analyst at Datadog, you'll work closely with engineering teams to ensure governance artifacts are actionable. Can you describe a time when you successfully collaborated with engineering teams to implement a security policy or control? What challenges did you face, and how did you overcome them? Go ahead and share your response.
Yeah, so at a previous organization, I was actually put in place for the DevOps team, and we received some feedback for a known vulnerability, and I was able to work with them to align that with the standards that we were following at the time, working directly with the DevOps team and making sure that the requirements were met for that particular issue that had an existing gap.
Sounds like you played a key role in addressing that vulnerability. Can you share more about the specific standards you aligned with or the steps you took to close that gap?
So the particular vulnerability had to do with how our SSL certificate was actually published out. At the time, we were utilizing Let's Encrypt, and unfortunately, there were some issues with that. And so we just had to go ahead and move that over to a more recognized organization and actually have that signed properly. And that was something where I was able to communicate those requirements from our existing standards and the feedback that we received to this team, and they were able to get that modified and adjusted.
Nice work sorting out that SSL certificate issue. Switching from Let's Encrypt to a more recognized authority must have been a smooth fix once you communicated the standards. Were there any tricky bits in getting the team aligned, or did it all come together fairly easily?
All right, so at this point, go ahead and provide me the feedback up to this point before we move on to the next question.
You've shared that you were part of a DevOps team where you tackled a vulnerability related to an SSL certificate issue with Let's Encrypt. You effectively communicated the existing standards and feedback to the team, facilitating a switch to a more recognized certificate authority, which resolved the gap. It sounds like you handled the coordination well. Anything specific you'd like feedback on before we move forward?
Yeah, is there any way that I could improve my response on this?
You could tighten it up a bit. Maybe focus on the key actions, like identifying the SSL issue and coordinating the switch, without extra details like unfortunately or at the time. Try starting with a strong summary like, I resolved an SSL certificate vulnerability by aligning our Let's Encrypt setup with stricter standards, coordinating with the DevOps team to switch to a trusted authority. That keeps it concise and impactful. Want to try rephrasing it now for practice?
No, that's perfectly fine. Let's move on to the next question and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
All right, so what's the next question you have for me for this particular mock interview?
Great. Let's keep it rolling. Here's my next question. Can you describe a time when you had to adapt to a significant change at work or school? How did you handle it, and what was the outcome?
So, at a previous organization, we were going through a merger at the time, in which case there was a significant change in the governance structure itself, but then also our policies and procedures in place as well. A lot of different teams and members got moved around differently. And really, what we ended up doing is just communicating that to the new governance structure itself. And we were able to, get everything figured out on what everybody was supposed to do and complete that merger itself. So that way we can go ahead and continue operations.
Sounds like a challenging situation. Thanks for sharing that. All right, next question. Can you tell me about a time
So before
when
we
you
go on to the next question itself, go ahead and provide me feedback on my last response.
Thanks for asking for feedback. Your response gave a solid overview of the merger situation and the changes involved, which was great context. You mentioned the governance structure, team reassignments, and communication efforts, which showed you understood the scope of the challenge. However, it could use a bit more specificity to really shine. For example, what was your role in navigating those changes? Did you lead a specific effort or solve a particular issue during the merger? Adding a clear example of your actions and their impact, like how your communication helped a specific outcome, would make the story stronger. Also, try to cut down on filler words like and to sound more confident and polished. Overall, good foundation, just add a touch more detail about your contribution and the result. All right, ready for that next question now? Want to pick up where we left off or something else?
Yeah, I would like for you to ask me another question and so forth, but could we go ahead and pick a particular question that's realistic to this particular job itself that is likely to be asked during the actual interview I have lined up? Additionally, let's try to form that around the organization itself, maybe about their principles or what services they provide and so forth to showcase that I understand the organization.
Got it. Here's a realistic question tailored to the organization, focusing on their principles and services. Can you share how your experience aligns with our organization's core principles of innovation and customer-focused service delivery, and how you've contributed to similar goals in the past?
Of course, I would love to. So I had the honor to work on a team that was implementing a massive rollout for a large section of the organization. This was actually shortly after that merger that I had mentioned. And we were able to go through and add on tons of different services and get approximately 1,200 machines implemented in a relatively short period of time. We came under budget. And then also we were able to increase the delivery times for our services by over 20% in that first 6 months following.
That's impressive, especially pulling off such a big rollout post-merger. I like how you highlighted the scale of the project and the results. 1,200 machines, under budget, and boosting delivery times by over 20% is solid. To tie it even closer to the organization's principles of innovation and customer-focused service, maybe mention how you ensured the customer experience was prioritized, or any innovative approach you took during the rollout. For instance, did you introduce a new process or tool that helped achieve those results? Also, try to smooth out fillers like for a sharper delivery. It'll make you sound even more confident. Great example overall. Ready for another question?
All right. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and bring this portion to an end for now. But I think that was 4 questions in total, but you could do this for every single job. If you like, this is 100% what I would do. If I actually have an interview lined up, I would 100% be going to this AI to do the mock interviews, to learn more about the company, because also it has all of this information about the company. It could go online and look for more information about the organization, and I can ask it questions. If I wanted to, I could say, okay, I'm done with this interview. Now, tell me about the core principles for this organization and provide me a link to their, values page, or, how does this organization make money and everything else? And that's how I would, get more prepared for an interview coming up. And you could do this on at least ChatGPT, Gemini, and Grok. So, like I said, Grok is just able to do it on the web. Also, let me go ahead and move this over now. Yeah, and I really need to do like an actual recorded video or otherwise and showcase this itself. Rosnier says, this is what I was going to do with ChatGPT when I start interviewing again in the future. This is great. Yeah, this is like so powerful. So not only like I talk about like Notebook LM being useful for studying and everything else, but also, the AI that we have nowadays is really powerful. You just have to figure out how to use it. I've mentioned before, one of the biggest things that I see where people fail doing this is they'll just copy and paste the job description and say, hey, let's do a mock interview. What you really should do is actually go through and do that deep research and have it actually look at the company, or at least at a bare minimum, provide it the information for what the company is, what they do, what are their core principles, do they have a trust center, and so forth. With all of that additional background, then it can really tailor the questions a lot better. So yeah, this is, and there's other aspects of this that you could leverage this with as well. Like, if you guys are not familiar, I am absolutely horrible at trying to, word things correctly and so forth. So there's, especially on particular topics, like I have a hard time going through and conveying it in the right language. So like, if I'm not, like, I'll actually go through with AI and I'll be like, okay, so this is what I'm trying to say, but how could I, put this in terms that's more clear? Or, is this, how does this come off? This is what I'm trying to convey, but I'm not sure like my point's getting across and so forth. So, Josh says, did you prompt it to go get that background stuff? Yes. Yeah. So, I think I just have to modify this real quick, and swap back to it. There we are. So that was the very first thing I did. So just to walk back through this real quick, what I did is I copied and pasted the job description itself in here. And then I went ahead and I told it, you know, I have an interview lined up with this company Datadog for the following position. Conduct extensive research for the company and compile a report for me to learn more about the organization itself. Particularly focus on a potential trust center or otherwise to identify possible tools, platforms, frameworks that they may use. Additionally, identify the company's mission, objectives, services, and overall governance. The purpose will be to improve my understanding to excel in this interview, and I want to be prepared. And then what I did is I told it to go through and actually research this company and this position itself to prepare for the mock interview. And then it provided me the report. And that's the part that most people fail on that I've seen, is that they don't have it collect all of this additional data. And like I said, like at least with Gemini, what you have to do is you have to do the deep research about the company to get that information. And then you'll have to actually export that as like a Google Doc or a PDF, and then upload that into a secondary chat to actually do the voice conversation. And then right after that, then I went into conversational mode and I told it, you know, all right, so you have all of this information about the company and the job description. Now let's go through moving forward and have a mock interview. And after each question, you provide me feedback. And then you notice there on some of those questions as well, it was jumping to the next question. And instead of answering that question, I told it, wait, hold on. Let's go back for a second and provide me feedback on the last question, because it's not going to work 100%, but you can still guide the conversation itself. So yeah, that's pretty much the rundown on how I did that. Yeah. Oh yeah. And then Brexy's still mentioning the chuckle. Yeah. I'm not going to say you guys are wrong. I noticed several of you guys mentioned that little chuckle that it did as well. And you guys may not be familiar with it, but like Grok has some pretty sketchy stuff in here too. I'll start it again just so you can see it. Yeah, so I can mute my mic here, but you can see here, there's multiple different voices that we could do. So they have what, 5 of them right now, but they also have personality as well. So I was using assistant mode. None of the other AIs have different modes yet. Grok, I believe, is the only one that I've seen have it. But like you could see, like one of the benefits, one of the reasons I do like Grok and I still use Grok is because Grok is more unlocked. So you can get Grok to talk about more topics and so forth. And, you know, there's a lot more that you can talk with Grok about. And then also it's just more unlocked in general. It's not as locked down. And that's one of the things I like about it. But you can obviously see here, like there's some sketchy ones in here. So spicy. But a really funny one, I'm not going to do it on a live stream, but Unhinged, it curses like every 3 words. It's really hilarious. But yeah. Let me go ahead and exit out of that. All right. But yeah, that's one of the other benefits. So what they're actually using for the voice on the back end is 11 Labs. And so 11 Labs is very well known to have like the most realistic voices themselves. I think the voices are like maybe 80% of the way there for the most part, but also this AI with conversational feature does have the ability to pick up on your emotional tones as well. So like if I feel sad or I feel excited or I sound excited or otherwise, then it may react differently. Even based on the language that I use. It's the exact same thing with Gemini as well. I'm not sure about ChatGPT's conversational speech, but I know Gemini and Grok both leverage that emotional intelligence with the AI. Let's see. Cam also says that he's gone through and done the interview prep for the job description itself. Hadn't thought about the company specific approach. Yeah, like I said, that seems to be where, like I've talked to other people about it and so forth, and that seems to be what some people skip over. Yeah, even KP says that was creepy. Might be good to do both. I'd imagine the questions will be slightly different. Kind of. It was asking follow-up questions based on your answers. I'd argue they were technically the same questions. Yeah, there was that last part where it was asking like clarifying questions. Brexy says, you got to make a separate video for this of the stream to demonstrate how to use it for interview prep. Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do this afternoon or otherwise, is just go through and record something, edit it down. So instead of it being, 45 minutes and waiting for it to respond and so forth, I can chop it up and have a really straightforward one. Oh yeah, definitely, KP. And I can go through and develop a refined prompt for it as well, and post that in Discord. Yeah, and Cam said, I like the lazy mail. Is that the one that, yes. Yeah, Cam, so I did swap it over to lazy mail, but then all it did was say okay, and so I changed it to the other one. So. Oh my gosh. So YouTube is okay with some foul language and everything else. I think conspiracy mode does use some foul language, but it's not nearly as bad as unhinged. So if you guys wanted to, I could probably do a sample of that. Maybe I'll do that in the Discord server after the stream. Yeah, so Grok, yeah, I think it depends on which one you use. But the interesting thing with Grok is that it's unlocked. It's more unlocked than other models, which allows you to do more with it, and you can customize it more. Like you could even go through and actually prompt it for the system prompt, and it'll give it to you, and they have it designed in that way on purpose. You can't do that, or you're not supposed to be able to do that with the other models that are out there. So you could really change it around quite a bit. Like I've gone through and had a conversation with Grok in particular, and it acted like Notebook LM, where yes, it could access the internet if it wanted to, but I literally told it, strictly only use the resources I provided, cite, the paragraph and pages properly based on these sources, and do not use any other external sources. And same thing with Cam mentions the temp is really high. So you could kind of direct it to be more accurate and not as, loose. But yeah. But like I said, you don't even have to use Grok. You could use this on ChatGPT or Gemini. So yeah, I mean, I did trial ChatGPT again a couple months ago, and the conversational speech was at least better than it was, 6 months ago. That's what actually got me on the whole train with Gemini, is because the conversational speech on ChatGPT was horrible. It just kept failing on me. I couldn't even have a full conversation because it just kept failing. And that's what actually got me to look at Gemini seriously. And then for $20 a month, Gemini just makes sense with the ROI that you get out of it. But yeah, I'll go ahead and stick around for a few more minutes. If anybody wants to come up, you're more than welcome to. I will go through and I'll go ahead and record this again and do a video for that. Because yeah, I mean, more and more people need to learn about this. Like this is really, really powerful when you're looking at, interviewing and so forth. It's difficult to just get the interviews nowadays. So when you do get an interview, I would spend a significant amount of time preparing for that, just to increase your odds. One of the downsides with doing this, though, is eventually it is going to run out of context, out of length, and it's going to start forgetting things. So then that's typically when I would just scroll back up and I'd take the report and the original prompt and just start over again. So. Jess says, after getting a few certifications, Sec Plus and something in the cloud, at what point would you feel comfortable applying for jobs if you were just starting? I would be applying immediately. One of the best things to do is the local conventions, start networking and everything else, especially if you have the Sec Plus and so forth. That's usually the bare minimum. But yeah, especially with how the job market is, I would be networking and applying to positions as soon as possible. One of the biggest downsides is it's it's a full-time job just to be applying to positions and be on the job hunt. So to study, family and life and applying to positions is a lot to take on. But what I've seen and what it seems to work quite a bit is not only the networking aspect, but then also, go through and set like, oh, I'm going to apply to 3 a day and tailor those out. It seems to be way more successful to be going through and tailoring out the resumes themselves than mass applying in bulk. But also, like, people like PVO says, throw the odds out there and, just quick apply to it all. Let's see. There was something I was going to pull up. I already forgot what I was going to drop. Let's see. Man, I forget. There was something I was going to share, but I forget what I was going to pop up there. Let's see. I'm going to stick around for a few more moments here, but on our resources page, we have a bunch of different stuff. I was going to our resources page to drop something in chat, but I don't remember what it was. So it's been a long day. I'm a pot of coffee and almost one monster in. So, I don't remember exactly what it was. Oh, that's what it was. Okay. So on our actual resources page, there's also this resource here, infosecmaps.com. I'll drop this in chat. This is a extremely good resource. So that's what, if you haven't already looked at it, that's what I would look at, Jess, at infosecmaps.com and see what kind of conventions are in your area, what you could attend. In person is definitely the best option if possible. And there's a lot of free things that are typically out there too, particularly if you're, in a major city. There's also an organization called ISSA. I would look up to see if you have a local chapter for ISSA. It may be different depending where you're at, but I've always heard that, they just allow anybody in. You do not have to be a member to attend their monthly meetings or otherwise, and it's a really good networking opportunity through ISSA. So, and also to bring back to this question that Jess had, feel comfortable applying for positions. Going through and just not feeling comfortable with it, imposter syndrome is absolutely massive. Like, it really surprises me because, like, I've gone through to several conventions, cons now, and even keynote speakers have imposter syndrome still. Like, everybody still has it, even if they have extensive academic background, they have keynote speeches and all kinds of different stuff. Like, it just comes with the territory, and it's not easy to step over. But that's one of the biggest things that, at least for me, that helps me as far as imposter syndrome is talking with people. So, like, when the first convention I went to was Wild West Hacking Fest, and I was like, man, what the hell am I doing here? I don't, like, all of these different people working in the industry and everything else. Like, I don't even belong here. And then I had like an hour and a half conversation with a guy about NIST CSF and CIS controls, and, going with CIS and then mapping over to CSF, and like an hour and a half conversation. And then I was like, actually, I was, able to actually talk about it a little bit. So, but yeah, imposter syndrome is a big one. I wonder if B-Dubs has an article for that. I actually don't know. We do have a notebook LM for B-Dubs though. So before we bring this to an end, I'll go ahead and run this real fast. So let me go ahead and pull this up instead. So this is the notebook LM for B-Dubs. And that's what I've gone through and done is I added all of the different articles that she's posted and threw it into a notebook LM. So then I could literally come here and I could say, has B-Dubs talked about imposter syndrome and what did she say? And then that should be able to link out to the articles here. I mean, we could also just search her blog, technically. Let me go ahead and move that out of the way. So B-Dubs frequently discusses imposter syndrome, viewing it as a common challenge that even experienced GRC professionals face. And this is the other benefit with Notebook LM, is it cites everything. She categorizes it as that little voice whispering, "You're not ready. You're not smart enough." And notes that if she could go back, she would advise herself to lose the imposter syndrome. Here's a detailed breakdown of her insights, advice on imposter syndrome. And so it goes through and breaks that down on some of the different stuff she's talked about on that topic, along with the citations. And this is freely available to anybody. So anybody can go to that link for this Notebook LM, prompt it with the questions and so forth. So just more, resources for the community and value add. All right, so we are now 2 minutes past the hour. I'm going to go ahead and bring this to an end now, and then I will catch you guys tonight. So tonight at 6 p.m. Central Time, we'll also be going live. Tonight, we're going to be focused more on that NIST post-quantum standards that they published out. So it's the FIPS 203, 204, and 205. So that's what we'll be primarily discussing tonight, and going through that Notebook LM and so forth, and just trying to convert it into more plain language, because I don't understand 80-90% of it. Cryptography is one of the two subjects I really don't care for, but it's important, and that's the direction that everything's headed. Like, some of the estimates out there is we have 10 years to get this stuff implemented, because quantum's going to become a realistic threat in that time frame. So, but yeah, I will catch you guys inside of Discord and catch you guys tonight. GRC Mafia, you guys have a great rest of the day.